All right, everyone, we're going to start learning how to mix a wide range of colors by making a traditional color grid. It's going to be a little color mixing chart that's going to help us identify as many colors as possible in combination. So on one of your smaller, thinner practice sheets, this is our practice sheet, there's kind of a smoother side and a bumpier side. You want to use the bumpier side. If you have a ruler, that's incredibly helpful because you can actually measure out the size of your squares. If not, you're going to have to kind of mentally divide. So we have 12 colors, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 6-inch square, and I'm going to mark half-inch increments all the way around that square. Now, when you do this, you want to be careful that your line doesn't get crooked, because with a half-inch box, you can run out of room. So if you end up with a line that's kind of like flailing down or flailing up, just draw it lightly to start, and you can fix it. You want to draw the half-inch lines on all 4 sides, again, to keep your lines even. This is a reference for you, so if you're someone who's going to be bothered by having it slightly off measurement, then I recommend you measure precisely. If you're the kind of person that's a little bit less concerned with that, then that's okay too. After you've got these are 12 little spaces now that I've measured out, so half an inch each increment. After you have them there, you can connect across. And then all the way down, and then all the way across. I'm going to speed it up for a second. Okay, so my grid is created and I've labeled my colors. So you want to make sure these pop out, and they probably popped out while you were while they were in transit. So you can click them back in place and they'll stay there, which is great. The names are here, but I believe they're not all in English. So we're going to translate mostly how I think they are. Yellow, orange, red, magenta, violet. Ultramarine is the darker blue, cyan is the slightly lighter blue. We have blue-green, which is the more blue version of the green. The regular green is the more like limey color. Ochre, yellow ochre, is that kind of like tan gold color. This is a raw sienna, and this is black. All right, so you're starting in the top corner, and you're going from left to right, naming them. And then from bottom down, naming them in the same order. Make sure you put them in the same order. When we start to paint, the color, it's going to be kind of a grid. This will be yellow mixed with yellow here. The second 2 boxes in will be orange mixed with orange, which is just the plain color. So this center diagonal is going to be the true color all on its own. So all the way down to black and black there. Otherwise, this is going to be our kind of main row, our dominant row. And then the top will be the mixing column. So the vertical ones are mixing and the horizontal are dominant. So I'm going to try to keep this row still mostly yellow, more yellow than orange, more yellow than red, more yellow than magenta. So that when I get to yellow and magenta, I have one color here, but then when I'm in my magenta row, and it's more magenta and yellow. Both this box and this box will have magenta mixed with yellow. This one will have more yellow to it, and this one will have more magenta to it because this is the dominant row. The goal is to have 144 distinct colors. So you've got 12 and 12. You're going to try to get a distinct color, a different color in every single row. Do your best. I'm going to speed up the process and you'll see me how paint them in. Remember, this is going to be mostly yellow. This is going to be mostly orange. More red than the other color, more magenta than the other color. You're obviously going to see them both in play. It's going to be okay. When you mix your colors, you're going to be mixing them in the side of your palette. So you'll take a little bit of, not a lot of water. You don't want big puddles forming in your pans. You're going to take your yellow. If you want to even drop some water here and then create a couple options, you can do that to start. You can do these individually. You don't have to do them all at once. So I'm going to take my yellow and my plain yellow, and I'm going to paint it in there. If you want to make it a dot, you can make it a dot. If you want to make it more of a full square, you can make it more of a full square. You don't want to go too close to the edges because you don't want your colors bleeding into one another. You want to keep them separate. Before I get a new color, I'm going to rinse my brush real quick, swish swish, dab it off, dry it up a little bit over here. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to add orange into my yellow. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit. So it just changes the color to a little bit orange. Now I'm going to get my red. Red and yellow together make orange, so it should be just a little bit different again. A little more orange than last time. Move on to my magenta. There we go, that looks a little better. You can always go back and add a little bit more color if you want to. It's up to you how you do that. Grab some purple here. Purple and yellow are complementary colors, so it's going to neutralize it. It's going to make it kind of brown looking. There we go. And you can see how this is building. Every color is just slightly different from the one before it. Depending on how damp your watercolor pans are, they're going to pick up more or less pigment each time. So just keep that in mind, that once you start this, these will be more pigmented because you've melted them a little bit. When they're fresh, they're going to take a little bit more water. And right away you can see the difference, that straight, like very vast difference between the two blues and what the effect they have. All right, now I'm on to blue green. And when you get to black, black tends to be the strongest of all colors, of all pigments, so be very careful and use just a small amount because you don't want all your black row to look totally black. Alright, so you can see I've made a range of colors that are still very yellow dominant. They don't look anything like the color that was mixed into them except for maybe the greens a bit. You can tell that it really changed the yellow by combining them, but yellow is still the dominant color. So when I get to yellow and magenta or yellow and violet again, but in this row, my violet with yellow mixed in is going to be way more purple, way more violet than it is currently. It's going to be much darker. Okay, so I'm going to speed up through the rest and you'll see how it goes, and then you will start your own when you get the idea.